Hello, everyone. Welcome to This Is My Offer. I'm Ronak Shah, Partner Solutions Architect at AWS. Today, we are joined by Kevin from Constructor to talk about exciting product discovery or e-commerce site search space. According to research, 43% of visitor to going to retail website first starts with search. Um, and segments such as grocery, that number could be even 70%. Consumer views who search are 5 to 6 times more likely to purchase the product. And that's just the online side. Now, when we look at how physical and digital is blending, the 70 to 80% of physical sales are influenced by having research done online before someone walks into store. That makes the search kind of critical component of the e-commerce or retail uh, business itself. And I'm looking forward to discuss Constructor's innovative approach on search and product discovery with Kevin. Kevin, please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about Constructor.
Thanks, Ronak. It's great to be here, and thanks for having me on. My name is Kevin Laymoun. I'm the Chief Revenue and Customer Officer at Constructor. So maybe I can tell you a little bit about Constructor. I'll start there. We're a search and product discovery company based out of San Francisco. We've been at this for about 8.5 years. We were building the product for about 4 and then went to market with it. We focus on search and browse, recommendations, all matter of conversion on e-commerce sites. There's a bunch of machine learning that goes into what you look at, what you've clicked on, add to cart, and purchased on an e-commerce site, what others similar to you have done, and that goes into what results you'll see next. And that's what Constructor does. So we're the youngest company in the search and product discovery space by about a decade. We joined a crowded field that had, I think, 25 other companies in the space, making us the 26th entrant. We're also an early member of the Mock Alliance, joined in 2020 in its inception. The cool thing about the space, Ronak, is that search and product discovery is a highly suitable product for A/B testing in production. So being the youngest company in the space, we've never had a single customer start on Constructor. Every company that we've ever worked with, Under Armour, Home 24, etc., you see on our websites or hear me talk about the rest of the day, tested Constructor against the other incumbents in our space and decided that the revenue lift was large enough and justified ripping and replacing it with Constructor.
So that's great. Constructor has always been compared to existing in-house solutions or some other vendor solution. Uh, Doing and justifying replacement is not easy. So it's great that you start with A/B test and prove it out. Uh, I would like to zoom in to what is the constructor's differentiation or the approach and architecture which makes you win the A/B test, right? There must be something different to beat the existing systems. Can you talk about that a little bit and explain?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think from our inception, joining a pretty saturated space, we've been able to have an impact in such a short amount of time with largely 4 differentiators. So number one, our focus on winning A/B tests, the products that we build, the data science team, and the algorithms that we run to market are all driven to optimize for a business KPI for a specific market, only retail in e-commerce. So we're obsessed with whatever the metric is that a customer is solving for. If it's conversion rate, if it's revenue per visitor or revenue per visit, if it's profit, etc.
So, what about the merchandiser? I mean, how do you address the people who are in charge of, making it attractive?
Yeah. Well, I think that gets to our differentiated approach, right? We take a focus on this concept of attractiveness versus technical relevance. Relevance is also a technical word in the search world, but it's also what you and I would use as lay people talking about the set of results that we've seen. The problem that we see within e-commerce is that the merchandisers often left out of the discussion around AI and machine learning. So our approach is bringing them together so that the AI and machine learning, any results that we can show, are human interpretable, so that the merchandiser has not only a part, but a incredibly dynamic role in driving the results using the machine learning and not working against it. And that, I think, is enabled by our differentiated architecture. So we have a natively built clickstream driven core that was designed around the merchandising tools that you have in our dashboard. And obviously, I think this has been a really important element of how we work alongside our customers to both scale them horizontally in our infrastructure, but also the way that we ingest the catalog. Our last differentiator, our fourth one, is our proof schedule. We'll get into it more at the end, but I think historically, prior to us joining the space, the other 25 folks in the space, the way that you bought them was really you had to make reference calls. It was really hard to set them up before you sighted on the dotted line or did a big POC. So for us, we wanted to be able to show both merchandising teams and business teams how our machine learning worked well before they made a big investment in time and resources with us. And so we'll get into that, but that's been a big change for us and has led to a lot of success.
No, that's great, because one of the challenge when you introduce AI or use AI largely, uh, how you not make it a black box, how you make it explainable, and having that merchandiser understanding what's happening. It's definitely a differentiation. Now, the search or information retrieval, we call it, like in a computer science, has been evolving for many years. And from technology side, search has been going from like keyword search, where you are giving a keyword and getting the results based on how many more time that keyword exists in a document or how rare it is, uh, to more semantic or vector search, and then using AI and now Gen AI, and specifically on e-commerce, B2B, B2C scenario. Uh, I mean, how does Constructor fit in this ever-changing space? Like, where are you currently and where are you going?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think the history of this space is so important and is really tells the story of why we thought it was a good space to enter in the first place. Um, you know, Product discovery has been around for a while, ever since e-commerce companies and early sites on the web existed. Is how do you find things? Search in the past, it was really not very complex. If you look at TF-IDF, BM25 algorithms used across a myriad of different use cases, were really what comprised keyword search, right? How do I find a token within my catalog? And so in the e-commerce context, that was really what's existed for a very long time, up and around till 2010, right? And so actually, many of the other 25 folks in our space are still built on architectures that are keyword based. You could call them Lucene based engines. So this is something that was built on Solar or Elastic, and you know that. But what was added on in 2015 to 2019 or so was this concept of vector search, which, by the way, is in and of itself not a bad idea, but functionally, vector search, when not used correctly, when not natively integrated or built into an architecture and called as a library and added on, can really result in just a plurality of the same relevancy problem, right? Returning more irrelevant results. The thing that we'll get into on a little bit later, I'm sure you'll be interested in this word that I'm talking about, attractiveness. But it really is based in this idea that as machine learning and a lot of different, emerging architectures evolved, it enabled, a lot of the same, problems that we see today. So, for example, if you look at, TF-IDF, BM25 algorithms used across a myriad of different use cases, were really what comprised keyword search, right? How do I find a token within my catalog? And so in the e-commerce context, that was really what's existed for a very long time, up and around till 2010, right? the market to build around this concept of clickstream, right? Listening to their users. Users are voting every time they're engaging with your site and your brand by what they click on, what they don't click on, what they add to cart, etc. And so, how do we utilize that to give them an incredibly great experience that isn't just so subjective, but can be measured in an objective truth? And that's really the basis behind attractiveness. What is the goal of their customer journey? And so that was really what Constructor was built on. Is a custom built Redis-based core using a lot of the AWS products as our base infrastructure, so that we can both in session and across sessions drive results to customers that's based on their clickstream. So it was really the first class citizen in our architecture. And then as we go forward, our present and future of product discovery, I think has to do a lot about context, right? Context. You guys have probably all searched in ChatGPT or heard of the company. The T in ChatGPT is transformers, and transformers are used by, I think, the emerging machine learning models to understand context. And in Constructor's context, no pun intended, it really matters about what's the relationship between customers to other customers, right? The relationship between products to other products. Maybe you sold out of a product last season, but a new product that is very similar to that. How are the buying trends used around that? And then lastly, if we understand those two contexts, products to products, customer to customer, we should be very good at matching the right product to the customer at the right time. And that's really the basis of what we go to market with today and talk about.
Oh, that's great. So instead of building layer upon layer, right? Because that's the evolution where you have a keyword-based search, you layer the vector like similarity search, and then you layer something else,
Right.
then you layer the clickstream. You have something which is uh, natively built to address the attractiveness and deliver the most business-driven result.
Exactly right, Ronak.
That's
Exactly.
great. That's great. So, uh, uh, can you show us like some example, like real world? What do you see? How your customers are seeing this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you could probably see on the screen here an example of someone querying the basic concept of hoodie. And so if you type hoodie into an example site that I actually grabbed from a live site on the web, um, you could see a set of results. So if I'm searching for a hoodie without knowing much about my proclivities, these results are, again, if you look at the older Lucene-based architectures, they'll be matching on the term hoodie as a token. And so you'll see hoodie show up in these results. And though that is technically relevant, right? If you look at NDCG scoring and something like that, measuring the efficacy of this result, it isn't compelling to me, right? Could I disagree that these are hoodies? No, they are hoodies, but they have hearts on the sleeves. They have low review counts. For me, this isn't going to be solving for the ideal scenario of Kevin adding it to cart and converting. And that's ultimately the goal of many of our customers. And so that's the problem with this example. Now, the same query could be handled a wildly different way, right? Using this concept of attractiveness, right? If you look at clickstream as the determining factor, and the models that you're operating allow for an understanding of my context using transformers and other technologies, you can get results that show that I like my hoodies to be of darker colors. You can see that I care about higher review counts, better review counts. My size is shown on here. All while, if you note, these all not being technically hoodies. Some are maybe a hooded sweatshirt or a pullover fleece. And maybe we can disagree about the technical validity of what is a hoodie, but at the end of the day, this is something that I'm going to add to cart and purchase. And that's ultimately what most e-commerce cares about.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you want to show what people want to buy, not what match your catalog data, right? Because that's that's not going to convert.
And
And
so going back to your question earlier, I think what we enable merchandisers to do really well is, often and historically, merchandisers have to merchandise from a one to many perspective. It's what do I think the customer base will like? And now we can supercharge them, right? Giving them this type of data so that they can say, oh, look, these different groups, cohorts, and specific users have these propensities. We want to show them exactly what journey they want to see, and so they can experience the brand and the catalog in a way that allows them to purchase the way they want.
make perfect sense. So the example we saw is more of an, the keyword, right? Typed hoodie. But the other problem in the search space is always been the long term or me expressing what I exactly want, like, a white cotton non-iron short sleeve shirt, or hey, I'm going for a camping trip and what do I need?
Mhm.
Now, can you talk about how you solve that sort of issues and how Constructor is using, next evolution of generative AI to help e-commerce company uh, to show personalized results in either I'm typing this long term query or I have a list of things. Uh, can you kind of talk about that where you headed in that space?
Yeah, absolutely. So we think, obviously, to the concept of the transformers we chatted about earlier, and the emergence of generative, something that we've been investing in for over a year. We actually came out with a product a while ago called our AI shopping assistant, and it's really cool to see how it's been engaged with. It enables shoppers on e-commerce websites and mobile apps to ask detailed questions and get personalized recommendations. So when they engage with the AI shopping assistant on a site, um, what they can do, to your point, Ronak, is they can ask long form um, NLP or natural language queries, and they can have conversations if they want, and receive product and content recommendations personalized to their preferences, the history that they have on the site, the intent, and reflect that brand's experience, both from their perspective and obviously from the perspective of the customer in real time. So it blends a few things. The AI shopping assistant blends a few things. Generative AI with Constructor's AI-based personalization. So the ability to optimize experiences for the unique key performance indicators that, like we talked about earlier, that the brand is trying to solve for. Um, so maybe I can tell you about a couple of use cases. So if you're looking to finding an occasion for, or I should say, apparel for occasion appropriate things, like maybe you're going to a wedding in the summer, right? Looking at results that would show, maybe for an apparel context, items that would be more linen-like or looser fit, help with for cooling off in these summer temperatures. For cosmetics, that might be no run foundation or eyeliner, etc. You can also identify relevant items across categories. So, if you say I'm going camping with my preteen kids for the first time in, Yosemite, you get results and supplies for that. You can also find recipes, getting ingredients. Hey, I need ideas for date night. You can then further facet down those concepts and say, hey, we're vegetarians. Can you show me vegetarian options? So those are just a few of kind of the opportunities that we see in generative AI.
That's awesome. I mean, understanding the context and having that almost like a conversation with the user and kind of changing how the, you know, one time you type something and get something to, you know, a more broader understanding is really helpful. Uh,
Mhm.
the and to understand those users intent and input where the the LLM foundation model comes in, right? How does Constructor build so fast and X demand with multiple foundation model to produce the better outcome for retailers?
Yeah, absolutely, including our own models, right? I think the way that we've been able to do that, and getting access and the ever expanding choice of multiple models is really crucial to winning in this space. And so we use Amazon Bedrock. It makes it easy to experiment with the multiple LLMs and pick the one with the best results for that specific retail example. And we do this pretty heavily, and so you know, Gen AI is really crucial. It's the bedrock of our business, and we see that going forward. So that's why chatting with you and working with your group has been so impactful for us, and expect to be that for many years.
Thank you, Kevin, for that and joining me today. Viewers can find the more information in the bottom of the video with the marketplace offering and the Constructor website. Before we depart, Kevin, would you like to add any additional information, or we kind of talked about proof schedule. If you want to just talk about that a little bit as a final comment.
Yeah, we talked so much about data today, and I think it's crucial. One of our biggest, I think, disruptors when we joined the space was that we took the position that every retailer e-commerce company can find out very quickly whether a product discovery provider is a good fit for them, well before doing a POC or investing a bunch of time and money. So we call that process the proof schedule, and your team has helped us basically offer this at scale. So it starts with two simple steps that take about 9 minutes of time. You add a beacon onto your site. The team over here makes one by studying the JavaScript. You just put it in your tag manager, and then you just send us a one-time product catalog. That's all the work the retailer or e-commerce company needs to do. The next step is we run in a quick analysis of the site and spit that out to you. You get to keep that, and it's basically performance of where your site is doing well, where there are opportunities for improvement, or maybe where it's falling down. And then about 7 to 10 business days later, and this is the learnings that we get from that front end beacon, allows us to build a projection of the operational lift that you could see, or business KPI lift you could see from Constructor on your own products and data. And then ultimately in step 4, you get to see product discovery with Constructor. And all of this before really investing any time or money. It's a very quick process. It informs us on whether it'd be doing a good job for you. And obviously, we always want to know that there's a right fit as we work with any of our customers. You can check them out on our website. I think the case studies that we've done are all based on this proof schedule. So we're really excited on rolling this out further, and it's an exciting thing to partner on if anybody's interested in checking it out.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Ronak. Thanks for having me.